Good morning. Good morning. It is I. Welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee number 78. I should check the number before I do these. It doesn't actually say anywhere. Number 78 with me, Annie from Basque Games. Good morning. If you're a regular, hello. If you're brand new, hello also. Usual, whilst you're there, you can do a cheeky like and subscribe on that bit. We've got to over 1,000 peoples now. And I finally got my golden chalice from YouTube. It's not quite golden chalice though. It's the ability to make a community post. I just realised there's something sticking out there. I'm like, nope, not got my address on. Cool. So I can now post things. I haven't done one yet. Apparently polls are good for the algorithm, so I might put some rubbish polls up. But yeah, I can make posts. That's exciting, right? Can make posts, and I can stream live from my phone. Although most of the live streams are better from Facebook because people are around at the time, but it's still handy to know, especially when stuff happens again and I can actually go somewhere. I could do live to YouTube from trade shows. So I hiccup in there. What's going on here? I've been up for ages. My hair's gone purple. I kind of like that. Over the blue, it's gone like a dark purple, which is quite exciting. I like this. Thank you, Simon, for buying it off my my Amazon wish list. I put a load of hair dye on the Amazon wish list and went, okay, I'll just click that off there. Yep, send me whatever so that I could. My hair was decided by you lot, so it was blue because of George. It's now purple because of Simon. I've still got quite a lot of blue and purple, so it'll probably go between that. But just thought I'd mention that. It looks quite cool. So I did it this morning. I like to live dangerously. It's like, well, can't go too wrong. So yes, good hellos. My mum, I've given her I made her a YouTube account earlier in the week. I was on the phone to her and went, right, okay, I'm doing it. So I went on the computer. I've set her up with her own username, passwords, account. I've sent her the details. She said she's tried it earlier. We will find out soon if she's lying or not, because I phoned her just before the show. I did prank her and say, you're live on Sunday Morning Coffee. But, oh no, no, you're not, but you've got to sort out your account. So hopefully at some point we will get the message from Lil inside. It's very exciting. So she was late. She's booting up her pad at the moment. So this is tense. Is she going to do it? She's not going to do it. It was blurple. She'll still text. Yes, she will. Hello everyone who has come along. I've got lots of information for you. I have been researching Zenobia all last night and for quite a bit this morning, whilst my hair was cooking, because if you've dyed your hair before, you put it in cling film for like an hour. So whilst I was sat there, I read some more about Zenobia. I did put some books behind me. Peekaboo books. So yes, last night I'll talk about my Zenobia research, and then I did I practiced by phoning Mum earlier and telling her all about Zenobia, and went, that did absorb into my brain. So last night I listened to a few. I decided we've got. Oh yes, Zenobia and Eleanor of Aquitaine won the. They won the Community Mini 1 and 2, so they are getting made. They've been paid for by you lot. Thank you. And they'll be getting made. Yes. So we're already voting on 3 and 4. I'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, so they're definite. So the next bit is deciding what the minis look like. So because they're community miniatures, you're having a go to. So I'll put some threads up on there. Obviously, I've got to do the research as well. Most of the wobbles showing books. What? Oh, that. So the research is. Sorry, I'm just moving something there. Bad Squiddo reserves the right to make the mini as I decide, but you get to help me decide. So that's pretty fun. It's nice to have people to sort of share the research with, because I'm normally doing that in secret. Or if it's the sculptor, I share it with the sculptor a bit. It's quite yellow going on there, isn't it? Yellow. Woo! 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 Let's go with that. So I get to tell you what I have discovered in a moment. That was too right. What are you doing? What are you doing? There we go. But where I looked, so last night I was in a rubbish yesterday, and I hadn't really done anything. Oh, squeaklers. So I thought, oh, I better get some community stuff posted up because so enthusiastically, I better do that. So I did a post about that, and then I thought, might as well get researching. So we've got 2, but I thought I'll stick with 1 at the moment, just so I can, just for my research. My brain's all over the place. I'm tense seeing if Mum appears in the chat. I can almost hear her swearing at it because she can't figure out how to work. She will get there. She's got to get here, or I will kill her. So where are we? Where are we going? Who are you? Zenobia. So I started my research of Zenobia last night, and I knew nothing about her, to be honest. I'd seen that famous painting of her, the really good one. There's loads of them, but the one where she's sort of peering out over Palmyra. So I looked up. So what I've been doing is kind of showing you a bit of my own research process as well. So I posted one of the first. Oh, she's here! She's made it! Lil Norman. She's made it. She's got a Google account. Woo! I wish I had something where a little confetti could come down there. Imagine it's confetti. You did it, Lil! You did it! You get to hear all about Zenobia again. Woo! So, yeah, I didn't know anything about Zenobia, and I thought she looks cool, but let's find out about her. So this is all I know is from my research from last night and this morning, and I'm quite impressed at my information absorb. So I watched, what did I do? I had some pigs out helping me as well. I watched a few chats on YouTube just to get started. So there's a really good 42-minute discussion on there that I recommend. Quite a lot of channels have got it. So if you put Zenobia and it comes up as 42 minutes, probably that one. There's quite a few different historians having a chat about her and all the sort of backstory about what was happening around there at the time, which is really interesting. I did the thing, so showing the process that I do is I just whack it into Google, see what pictures come up. Most of them are terrible, but it helps create that sort of like mood board at the start, just to see, right, how have other people done this? Is there a common theme? Is there something that keeps appearing or anything like that? So I put Zenobia in, got that classical painting. There's some old busts, like sculptures and things. There's a fair few sculptures. Nothing contemporary because it was all destroyed. But there's still quite a few. And obviously everything has to be taken with a pinch of salt, which makes the research really fun. And that sounded sarcastic, it really isn't. It's like an investigating. So you've got every era. So even if they're a really old painting, there's always an agenda to the painting. And it could be whether they want to portray the person in a particular way, the style of painting at the time, and sometimes they sort of romanticize the characters into how women, because I'm looking at women specifically, but into how people were portrayed at the time. So none of them are, straight up, that person's got it great. But it's interesting to look at them and then look at the sort of background behind the images, if there's anything about that. And it just gives you an overall, general view on how people so far have seen this character, what is in people's minds, I guess. I didn't know Zenobia was in, is it Age of Empires? So that came up, and that one seems pretty good, actually. So I've put all that up. So there's some terrible films, all this sort of stuff. So it's just that first visual. So I had that. So I posted them up in Baggy's Cave. If you're not in Baggy's Cave, I've actually put a link into the comments this time. Ooh, just about to have a drink. It looks messy, but it's my homemade mocha again with Jigglypuff. Yay! So, some learning. So I did that. I went through the YouTubes. I read a bunch of articles online, again, from various different sources to get a bit of a picture. And that's rewarding when you start realizing, I know that from the other thing. And then last night and this morning, I attacked some books. So there's a passage, nothing huge. There's a passage in Women Warlords, which I think everybody's got. it's a very pinch of salt, but especially the artwork in there. There is a picture of Zenobia, which I'll show you. And what? You don't have this? You should get this. It's cool. It's got Angus McBride artwork, which I love. And also this one, which I'm sure somebody got off my wish list, and I'm gutted that I haven't put the things the things into the what's it? Yeah, the little notes into there. So when I open them, I know who they're from, which would have been a really smart idea, but I haven't. But thank you, whoever got me this. So this has got a passage on Zenobia as well. So I've read both of those. And then I was also looking through what they got here. Weirdly, costume books are really handy. So they use like fashion designers and people doing plays and all that have these books. So there's a lady, Anita Books, who does little trade shows, and she always looks out for costume books for me. So they've just got little details and what they actually are on there. And this has got all the different ways you can fold a robe over you. Again, annotated to show what they actually are. So it's almost like a little museum in your pocket. I also got this one out as well, which doesn't have much because it's more contemporary, but handy as well. There's some cool stuff in there. Yeah, I'm looking at them. No, don't look at them. Don't look at them yet. Don't look at them. I just want to drink. Hang on. Should move this down or move me up. Eleanor's getting the treatment next week, so I've let you lot put. There's a good discussion about her on what you want on there, and I'm just letting you loose at the moment. If I haven't replied, it's not that I don't care. I'm just trying to keep my brain on one, or I'll get confused. So I'm watching you battle it out on there for Wimple or male armor. The big question of life: Wimple or male armor? I kind of want both, but I'm properly looked yet. I'm sure once I decide, I'll persuade you to my way of thinking. Hello, Gregor. I'm teasing you by talking to pigs, but not having them here. You made it, Lil. I'm so excited that Lil's come along. Mm-hmm. Sorry, it's just so good. So, right, now I'm under pressure, right? I'm going to tell you what I've learned about Zenobia. I've got a lot of notes. I'll show you some of my notes. So they start there, and then they go into there, and then they go into there. And I think the last page, no, that's no anything on it. So there's a lot of notes. But I read it out to Mum earlier. I read my brain out to Mum earlier without notes. So I've got them here just in case I forget what people are called. Now I'm under pressure. Tell us about Zenobia, Annie. So she is in. God, this is mad. How can I not do it on the camera? It's nuts. Yeah, so she's Queen of Palmyra. She's married to Odenathus, who is the king. So she's queen in that sort of sense at the time. This is when Rome is getting very wobbly. So it's massive. It can't control its borders. It's all in a bit of disarray. They're in Palmyra, which is part of Syria. So it's sort of, I haven't properly looked, but sort of Israel, Palestine sort of area. For modern day terms, sort of thing. Can't remember what it was called. It was called something else in Tadmor. Tadmor is mentioned in the Bible. It's a very old place. So her husband's the ruler. She's very close, well, seemingly very close to her husband. So she learns a lot from being his wife, basically about how to rule, gets to know a lot of the generals and, battle tactics and all that sort of stuff. She's said to be exceedingly beautiful. But they're all said to be exceedingly beautiful. According to one of the historians I listened to, though, he said there was a good chance that she actually would have been super beautiful, being that she was a lot younger than him, I think, and she was beautiful and athletic. And I'm going to go for that. There's the usual, where they really exaggerate and go, her teeth were as white as pearls. Like, I'm sure they weren't. I'm sure she had nice teeth, though, compared to everyone at that time. But not that you'd go, what? Has she got a mouthful of pearls? Oh no, they are her teeth. So yeah, she gets the hang of all that. He mysteriously dies. He is assassinated by his nephew. At the time, what's it? This is bearing in mind that my knowledge of Roman era is bad anyway, so bear with me. Can do this. At the time, the hierarchy, sort of how, what's it called? The passing down of lines or whatever, who becomes succession rules are very, very confusing at that time. So to get through this, her husband Odenathus has made his son a co-ruler. This is his son with his previous wife, so it's not Zenobia's son. And they're don't read the comments, I can't do it. So yes, not her son. So he's killed and his son's killed at the same time. So that leaves Zenobia's son with Odenathus to be the new king, but he's too young. So she becomes queen regent, so basically gets all of the power. She might not have assassinated him. She might not have. Some people say that she did, so there's no proof either way. It's a sort of thing where you could easily say that because women evil, that sort of thing. Could have been an example. Could have been a what's it? Yeah, who knows? I like the idea that she did because that won't give me an idea for the miniature. But either way, her husband dies mysteriously, and there's not much information about it. They reckon it was his nephew. So even if she did kill him, she didn't directly kill him. She'd have got a stooge to go do it. So then she becomes queen. She doesn't seem to be too bothered about being queen, as in like, oh no, because it's like she's been preparing almost this time from learning from her husband. So she's now the queen of Palmyra, which is ace. And apparently lots of people love her. She's good. Palmyra is a very multicultural place because it's part of the Silk Road, it's part of the Spice Road. There's a whole load of merchant caravans going through there all the time. There's an industry built off protecting the caravans. And then it's just they're doing very well in Palmyra at that time, basically. And yeah, there's people from all over the place, all sort of mixing around there, doing trade, which is really cool. So it's going well, whilst Rome's not doing so well. Dun, dun, dun. So she befriends, well, very quickly after her husband's death, what's he called? Hang on, I've got to skim through my notes that I can't even read. What is going on with my notes? Zapdas. She befriends Zapdas, who is the general and who was her husband's general, and keeps him on for some continuity, basically. And he's good. He's a good general. So they decide that maybe she could expand Palmyra, make a bit of an empire of her own, maybe. So she's already got good relations with Egypt. So she decides to invade Egypt. She's like, let's take Egypt. It's like, it's next door. Why not? They've got the Nile. So Rome are a bit like, what are you doing? So it's all right. We're just sort of like building the empire up a little bit to protect against Sassanids that have been invading before that. But by the time she doesn't invade Egypt immediately, she goes for a few of the nearby areas. It's all Asia Minor sort of areas. So she's getting quite a big empire. Goes for Egypt, takes Egypt. That's massive to Rome because that's where all their grain is. For all the food for everyone, so it's a huge deal to take that. There's a bit of a scuffle. They lose it, but then they take it back again. I can't remember who it is that decides that they're extra not happy about it, and he gets decapitated. But Egypt is now Zenobia's, so she's got quite an empire. There are some good maps I've seen around of the exact number of places she's taken by that point. This is in 4 years. So it's it's pretty impressive. I'm sure there's loads of other information I've got but yeah, I could go on for ages about it. So she takes all that, but then what's his name? Aurelian. Aurelian appears in Rome as the emperor, and he's pretty good. As in, he's a pretty good army dude and knows his stuff. So he wants to help Rome get not so crap anymore. And he sees Zenobia and goes, "Yep, I am putting a stop to that." So there are various battles along with him. Some of his tactics were quite interesting that I was reading about. And what was very funny is earlier in the week I did a live video where I was showing off some of my plastics, and I said, "Oh, I stock all the Gripping Beast, but I don't know what a lot of it is, but I love Gripping Beast, so I stock it anyway." And there's a point where I sort of pick up a box and go, like, cataphracts. What's a cataphract? Zenobia had cataphracts. Oh yes. So the Palmyran army was Palmyrene, I think they called it. So it's Palmyra and the Palmyrenes. So the Palmyrene army had a lot of cataphracts, a lot of cavalry, lots of armor. Lots of big, heavy armor, and they were very, very good. And they were against Aurelian's army, which had lots of foot troops and also lots of cavalry. Apparently, they kept the foot troops a bit hidden, so they thought they were doing pretty well. There are some parts where they're sort of rejoicing, like, "We've won! Yes, this is ace!" And then they don't realize all these foot people. There's a lot of Palestinian slingers and mace people that can just go straight in and get through all that armor. So she does not do very well against Aurelian. Another of the tactics that he used was knowing that they were all metal, basically, that they just cook. There was a really good name. Let's have a quick look. There's a really good name for what he called them. Oven men. The oven men. So he put the oven men by doing delay tactics. Which again was really interesting, that he noticed that it was getting pretty hot, so his part of his tactics was just absolutely wearing them out and doing some sort of faux retreats to get them sort of trampling around, and wait until the sun was really cooking them, and then it's easy. So that was her battles against him. He eventually followed her back to Palmyra, did a siege. So the siege is going on. Let me drink my coffee. Siege going on for a while. There's apparently some letters sent back and forth, but they were by, Carol will know, the rubbish historian. Don't know where I've written that. Was it Historia or Augusta? Yeah, apparently there's some letters back and forth, but they've mostly been said as bollocks, so I've kind of ignored them. So yes, she eventually realizes that it's all going to crap and she's done for now. So she flees on camel. And then the mystery begins. So there's various different ways her story ends, and nobody knows. So one of them is that she goes to Rome, she's taken to Rome, captured, taken to Rome, ends up in a villa and sort of lives out her days, gets a Roman husband, stays there quite quiet and happy. Another one is they just execute her. Another one is that she dies on the way to Rome because they're marching through Rome. The very grandeur one is that she's captured, she's paraded through Rome with chains, golden chains with gems, and just over the top, and all the animals in the world. When I've looked through it, it's like they're giraffes and elephants and all this, like, come through, come through. Don't read the comments, Annie. Read them afterwards. So, like, here comes the queen of all the gems, and she's sort of really struggling because she's got so much heavy weight on her, which I think is a good story. But I'm skeptical of the truth of that. It just makes a really good story, doesn't it? It's very Game of Thrones. Like, when would they bother to make gold chains? It's quite elaborate. Just bring her back. The other option is that she killed herself. And I, from my very limited research, but it's quite a lot to be fair, it's not much time, but I did pore through everything. I decided that she probably did kill herself. rather than be taken by the Romans. Another info I haven't passed, there's lots of different infos. That's the general story of Zenobia. So it does end badly, like they all end badly. But in 4 years, she created quite an empire. So fair play, that is pretty cool. What's it? She believed, we don't know, again, she said that she was a direct descendant of Cleopatra and was a very big fan of Cleopatra, which is giving me excitement for model making because I think she might have styled herself over a bit. And that famous painting definitely shows that because it's very Egyptian. I think when I first saw it, I thought she was Egyptian. What is it? Who else have we got? So I was like, information spill. She spoke Egyptian, which is pretty cool as well. She does seem to be down as very smart and learned. When she took over, she took a lot of the big philosophers and sort of surrounded herself with those as well. So she's very smart at just knowing what to do, basically. What other bits of info have I got that I've missed out? Green. Oh, the Romans forced the cavalry to trample itself in one of the battles. Antioch, maybe? I didn't get too many notes on the battles because I was mostly on the Zenobia, but I ended up being excited by that info anyway. Then they just destroyed Palmyra afterwards, which is sad. And then what was left of it was destroyed a few years ago by ISIS as well. But there is some left. I was looking it up on Holiday Guide, and it said we don't recommend that you go there because there's a lot of mines. Right, but there's still some fantastic ruins there, which is a shame. One of the chaps said that on one of the interviews I watched, he said, "Why isn't she as famous as Cleopatra?" And he suggested that maybe because Shakespeare hadn't covered her. But Chaucer was a very big fan. So info for you there. What we got there? A bit more. Just have a little. See if we've got any more info. Oh yeah, they had horse archers, camel riders, heavily armored horses. That's the cataphracts. Yeah, Aurelian's pretty tough. Got a few bits about Labalaphus is her son. But yeah, he doesn't really do anything. He just Verbalaphus. He's pretty much just there. I don't know how old he is, but he's not old enough to rule. We know that. Yeah, that's pretty much the info. Oh yes, so there's info that's useful for the model. She was a very good rider, but she's noted as walking quite a lot. Walked 5 miles. The troops. What we got there? That's enough for that bit. I got some info from the about what she would look like as well, because obviously that's the main thing. But it's very nice to know the backstory as well, because then you can put some little bits of information in there. In all that's again how it's really hard to, when you're researching, to figure out what's real and what's not. So the stuff about how there's a lot of rumors about her, which I thought were quite funny. Some were how massively manly she was, and that apparently is partly because Aurelian was embarrassed that he had to even go and fight a woman before he'd even begun, because people were like, what's she doing? Why is she taking all that land? You suck. So it's like, no, she's not though. She's not like a regular woman. She's all like super. It's basically a man. That's why she's good, sort of thing. And also that she, what was it? She was I'll say it. Phrase correctly. She only had sex for recreation was one of them, which again fits into the was it virgin or whore complex thing about how people are portrayed. So I'm sure that wasn't true, but that's quite funny. Like, oh, she's so brilliant. And it reminds me of Kevin and Perry, the film, where they go, oh, just this once for a superstar DJ son. And she did only have one son, as far as I'm aware. So I'm not quite sure. But I like reading those bits of info. It's a bit like what's her name, Countess Bathory, and all her like killing virgins and stuff. Just gonna have a little scroll, see what I've missed on the chat there, because I was trying to not get distracted by your. Well, we got there. Hey. Sorry, don't mind me. Just keep chatting. Where are we going? Oh, still going. Still going. Just reading your comments. There's so many. Did you like it? Did you like my story? Yes, the Catherine the Great, which was a lie. Yeah, while I'm sipping that, did you like my story? Was that good? That was all from my brain, apart from the times when I went and looked at the Word. That's me absorbing all that info. So I am I'm well down for some Zenobia. She was wicked. History with Annie, the Annie's History Channel. There we go. In Annie language. So designing the figure. Just realised how far I've gone in. I've got loads more to talk about. Lots more history too. So now we're at the designing a figure point. So there's lots of different ways you can portray it. I'm starting to get a picture in my head now. So I don't know why I'm looking there. I've got nothing written down. So there's not much information out there. So it's a sort of a mixture of looking at who, what's it? That's sort of looking at contemporary, what people would wear at that time, that sort of thing. So that's why I'm looking at these costume books. There is talk of when the siege is happening that she puts a mail shirt on. It's scale mail, isn't it? That sort of squarish scale mail. So I'm thinking of that on top of some sort of robe situation. So she's got the usual fancy robe stuff, a mail shirt, maybe sort of under, so she's got another layer or something. One of those pictures had it quite good, where it's almost like peeking out a bit there and a bit at the bottom. Loads of jewelry. Definitely a headdress. So in a lot of the statues, she's kind of got an updo. It's called a fillet. I learnt yesterday. Little band across, and then that sort of larger headdress. I think that'd look really cool with some sort of plaited updo hair poking out the side. And I'd quite like to have a dagger, just like tucked in a belt. So so she, even though she wouldn't have done a little sneaky stab on anyone, it's kind of given a little hint to her, maybe killing her husband, but also maybe she would have had a dagger just in case, she's about to get sieged. She's gonna have a little bit of a weapon. But I don't know what pose. I was thinking of the old. Everyone does the pointing pose. I kind of want her with the foot on rock. I know aware all these are cliches, but like foot on rock. But I'm up for all the suggestions. You're welcome to post on Baggy's Cave your suggestions for poses as well, with photos. I definitely want to see photos. But yeah, I'm thinking of her not sort of armed, but in a leader way. So you'd use her in a game as a leader. And yeah, she's got the little weapon to suggest it there, but she's more of a like, come follow me. So I need to get a sort of power pose for her. So you show me some power poses. That would be cool. And again, this is just what I've come up with over the last few hours, basically. So we'll get some more chat going on in there. Now you know more about her, hopefully. Some of you probably already knew all of that, but now you get it in Annie form. So that's all very exciting. So that's that's Zenobia for you. And I'm really excited. I can kind of start seeing her in my head now. And if she goes well, then maybe in the future we can do a camel on camel version as well, because that'd be cool. We got there. I always like to think with minis what other uses they could have. So yeah, she could be a good sort of mage or priestess for something, especially with the knife. But it's cool that she's got Roman, Persian, and Egyptian influences and bits of others as well. So yeah, I definitely want all her jewelry, because I think she would have been very like, I am Cleopatra. And yeah, she did do obviously invading Egypt's all like, you trying to be Cleopatra? So yeah, that was Zenobia. Eleanor is next on my reading. I will not read the entire book, but I'll be skimming through some of that, and I'll be looking at her online, but I want to get Zenobia mostly sort of nailed first. So yeah, so my brain doesn't get full. My brain is very full at the moment. It's otherwise been a rubbish week. And I've been really struggling. I think I mentioned this last week. My mental health's just bad at the moment. I'm very excited right now because I'm excited about this project, and it's really given me a lease of life. I'm really happy. There's loads of other things going on too. Like we've got a whole load of Soviets coming out, which are just going to be brilliant. So that's just sort of been churning in the background, and at some point fairly soon, I'm just going to go, Soviets, everyone! So we've got those on the go. Alan will be making a start, obviously, on this lot, but I'll wait till we've come to everyone's sort of happy with the decision. So then he'll be doing those. Hoping by that point I'll have 4 to give him, which will help for the costs too, because that means we've paid for 3, but we're not too far from 4. I've already just decided that's in the bag. So then we can, doing 4. He'll sculpt 4 at once probably, or 2, and then by the time he's finished those, we'll have the briefs for the next 2. So the voting for 3 and 4 is up. I'm doing it the same as the last one, where you can, there's 2 rounds. Current rounds are free for all. Go back and check, because I get that it's not as fair on ones that have been added later, because people might not have seen them. So go back and have a look what's been added since you last looked at it. And you can vote for as many as you like. Go wild, and then the top ones will go into the last voting bit, where the top 2 will become 3 and 4. I was going to do it for each model, but we're going to get really behind if we do that. So I think top 2 each time is a good idea. So go to Baggy's Cave. There is a link there for Baggy's Cave. Whew, let me finish this coffee, and I will talk to you about all the other stuff. Just a 30-minute show. It's all right. I've accepted it's 45 to an hour now, but we don't see people anymore, so it's nice to have this a little bit longer. What has happened? So I got some samples from the casters. If you're on the Facebook main page, there are some streaming there, and they are amazing. Oh, my brain's hurting from all this. So there's some videos on the Facebook page, if you're bored after this, where I unbox the mushroom forest, which is immense. I've had meetings with the casters this week on the phone, just going through how we're going to package and price them and that sort of thing. Not as scary as I thought, to be honest. Still fairly scary, but I haven't fully decided, so I can't tell you yet. But you'll be able to buy those massive mushrooms in pairs or just by themselves. They are just, I cannot get over how good they are. We've also got the dungeon goblins. So these are just, again, don't worry about them yet. Buy the other things, because they'll be a little while, because these are just the first samples. But we've got the goblins that look after the dungeons, and they are so cool. And there's 2 tardigrades, and I don't think I've told anyone apart from in that video where I showed them. And you can tickle one of them, and in the video, it's got me going, willy, 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 willy. They're so tickleable. They were made for tickling. So they're 2 large tardigrades. I'll talk more about them another time, but we have plans. Oh, let me finish this. Oh, yes, get those smash that like button, they say. I don't know why it has to be so aggressive, but you can give it a little tickle. It'll be fine. What else? Oh no, I didn't bring it down. What a fool. What a fool I am. What did I? There's books everywhere. I read, so I've also read the war diary of Rosa Shanina, who is a Soviet sniper. So my brain was in the was in the woods earlier in the week. So because I'd read that, I was all sort of stuck onto that, going, oh, got to look out. It's got to be sniping. I get very influenced by stuff I'm reading or watching. It's like, oh no. That book is very good. One of you got me that as well. And again, I didn't write down. I've got a photo of every book with all of it. So, what's going on? That book is amazing. It's a translation of her diaries. She's the one you see a lot because she's very pretty and blonde. So she was used as a sort of propaganda woman. And that was extra interesting because she talks about that and how that affects her life on, trying to get to the front line, but she's in a lot of dugouts and, generally unpleasant places, and talking about how people recognize her because they've seen her from the magazines. So how some people are really like, oh, it's you from the magazines. And others were kind of a bit jealous or like, oh, she thinks she should be treated differently. And it's also, I think she's like 19 during this diary. So it's also a teenage girl's diary. So it's not that full on, what was it? In the Svetlana book, what's it called? Someone will tell me. It's the testimonials. She interviews lots of old ladies that were in World War II in Russia. She says how it's interesting to read different points of view, as maybe a lot of the men testimonials talk about the battles and things like that, and whereas women more talk about the feelings and the little incidental details, not as a gender divide, but just that's like how people are sort of conditioned to experience things, really. So her talking about that, just things like about what she feels about some of her clothes and things like that, and yeah, just almost like gossip going around the trenches of like what's going on, almost like people's relationships in the trenches, and like, oh, such and such has fallen out with such and such today. All those, I found myself laughing a few times, which I did not expect, because there are a few things where you're just like, oh wow, I didn't expect that. But yeah, you're bored. You sat about so long, but yeah, stuff's gonna happen. So there's talking about all the letters she's writing to people back and forth, and yeah, it's like obviously huge amounts of it and massively depressing. And I got to the end and did a massive cry, but that's what I do with all of my war research. So especially with World War II, it's like I know it's coming. Like, when's it gonna come? Oh, there we are. But yeah, it's really interesting, that testimonial from the front. So yeah, Rosa Shanino. It's called Stalin's Sniper, and yeah, it's very interesting how people sort of know those few snipers, and people will say like, oh, every single woman in the Soviet army was like a supermodel, don't you know? And then they'll occasionally go, your models don't look like supermodels. Like, did you maybe consider that they picked the supermodel-y looking people to be photographed a lot for propaganda? Yes. So there's oh yeah, I've got the other Svetlana book. Loads of the stuff I've got is real tough reading, but it's kind of become a joke with my friends now that I'll be like, oh, I'm going to take some time off and I'm going to chill. I'm going to read about some war atrocities, and they're like, have fun with your war atrocities, Annie. Like, yep, I will. So yeah, there's loads to read. That really, and because we've been doing more Soviets lately, that sort of, I don't know, it's just good. Good to hear those people's what happened, because it's been repressed for so long. What else? Oh my god! I had a massive tidy in the office, which is boring, but I did it and it was good. Well, new plastics. Yes, new plastics. We've got had a restock. We don't have War Games Atlantic yet. I think it's still on a boat. So any of that, if you're waiting for a restock, I will let you know when it does. It's so purple. Oof. We have new Frostgrave Demons. They're in the shop. Get them. They're sculpted by Rob McFarlane, who sculpted the Bofas, and another SOE Annie, and a couple of our other little tools. And he is working with us next month. on some more Soviets. But again, it's all future, buy the things now. So we've got a wave of Soviets, and then there's going to be a later wave of Soviets a bit later on in the year, probably more towards summer, really, by the time I get all that together. But that's including some Soviet crew for the Bofors. Didn't hear it here. We also have the folk rabble from Fireforge, also sculpted by Rob. He is getting around. He's done a lot. He did pretty much, I think he did all of the Forgotten Worlds stuff for Fireforge. And I just love seeing, it's not my guy, he's done a few things for me, but always like, look at them, they're getting work here and there. And I'm like, I'm proud of the things they're doing. So when I saw he'd done the demons, like, he's done the demons as well. Although he was telling me about his love for pickled eggs the other day, so he's gone down in my estimation now. Carol says there was always another wave of Soviets. That was why they won. That's correct. What do we get? Before I go, that's most of it. I'm working with Kev White again. One which is pretty obvious from my post in Aggie's Cave is we're going to get Jean de Clisson mounted as well. John Morris has painted her. She looks so good. She's arriving hopefully Monday with me at the office. Yes. So I've only teased a little bit of her so far, but it's so good. So good. What was it? Brain. My brain is running out. What? What are we talking about? Generally, I don't know what happens. It's like zone out of the world. Kev, yes. So we're doing Mounted Jean de Clisson. I'm definitely releasing. I've got stock of her now. So I'll probably will release her on foot early, but we'll see. Especially now I've got a lovely painted picture because I don't want to do it without her being painted because she's so good. But she will be on horseback. I can't find my horse. I've got some really good horse greens somewhere that are intact. They've been moulded, but they were moulded in silicon, which means that they come out looking like they haven't even been moulded, which is beautiful. And I put them somewhere safe. So I've been looking around the house, looking around the office, going, where are my horses? So I need to find them so I can get them to Kev. And also, Kev is doing a secret figure. And it's nothing that's been voted for. It's nothing that's been on there. It's entirely different because you might not even have considered her with Bad Squiddo Games. And I cannot wait because I can see her already in my head as a sculpt. She is amazing. So the little teaser is that it's a lady from history not wearing that many clothes, as is Kev's speciality. And I really wanted to utilize his skill at female body. She's a real person and she is dressed like that for a reason rather than just being like for the sake of it. And I can't wait to tell you all about her as well. That's all very exciting, isn't it? So all of this has been happening. My brain hasn't been working, so I've mostly just been sad whilst all of this cool stuff is happening. As I said to someone this morning, my baseline is just sad at the moment. So I go like, wah! And then go back to... So that's hard at the moment. Everything is super hard. Oh yeah, it's supposed to be birthday special. I just remembered that was on the thing because I was thinking, oh yeah, my birthday always sucks. It's not my birthday today. Oh man, I meant to ham this up for the whole show and I forgot. That's how great it is. It's my birthday on Tuesday in 2 days. Normally, I'd be at Vatmatak today with my birthday girl badge on, going, it's my birthday. Can someone... And then it's Vatmatak going, buy me minis from me, because it's my birthday. So yeah, it is my birthday-ish. Don't worry, I'll ham it up again on Tuesday by going, it's my birthday, properly this time. What I would love for my birthday is obviously if you buy stuff from the shop. But if you think, I would buy Annie a beer or a cup of tea, then you can go on to the Ko-fi and it'll also count towards the community mini. What's that? So you can chuck some quids in there if you're feeling so inclined. And then that helps the whole project too. That is what I want for my birthday more than anything, is just to get some more cool ladies unlocked. That would be wicked. Because that's all all I need, really. So thank you for this. End on a always, Mum. I remember it well, isn't it? It was an eclipse of the moon as I was born. I'll be 31. I didn't do anything being 30. I was just in a pandemic. It was rubbish. But yeah, so it is my birthday soon. I don't know if I'm going to do anything. Can't do anything. But yeah, buy some sculpts. Buy bits of sculpt. The Ko-fi link is in there. I'd just like to mention a shout out to my granddad, Bobby Graham, who we lost in the week. Mum will be crying now. So he was 96 and had a combo of COVID, broken hip, and pneumonia, but aced through most of that. But that was some pretty good going. So Mum was able to luckily go and see him up north, because they're all from up north. She went to see him for that. So she's just got back now. So she'll be going up for the funeral. I won't because of COVID and all that. So yes, just a little tribute to Bobby there. Not done a shout out like that before, but I thought I should mention that. And yes, thank you for all your wishes. Go give Mum extra head pats as well, because it's Mum's dad. And she'll be doing a cry now. Bless her. Rightios. See you all next Sunday, if not in the week. Goodbye. I'll show you some pigs. Oh, before I go, I believe I'll be on the Andy 2D6 show on my birthday. That's what I'll be doing, because I said, he said, what are you doing for your birthday? And I said, oh, it lands on the Andy 2D6 show. So can I have a birthday special that's all about me and how great I am? And he said, okay. So I think on Tuesday I'll be on there. So I'll put some links about, but I think we're doing that. I might be doing some more Pig Castle later. I'm going to not talk for an hour or so because my face hurts from all this, like, oh, Zenobia. So thanks everyone. Usual like and subscribe-y thing. For the algorithms is all ace. And goodbye. And thanks, Mum, for getting the hang of getting onto YouTube now. Yay. Miss you, Mum. Bye.